Hey, I'm Laura Beamer. We're back with Jennifer Dean, and we were just talking about how the women's movement influenced the film industry. So my next question is about how it influenced performers, and especially how women got into the filmmaking business during this period.
Well, women, after the women's movement, you had people coming in from various angles. You had a handful of women who went to film school and got in through that route. You had women who would work as PAs or something else and actually kind of worked their way up. Some interest in women sort of independently working. Claudia Weil made a movie called Girlfriends, which ended up being extremely successful financially overseas, extremely relatively for an independent film, and got a lot of critical acclaim here. And so that, I think, also influenced people being willing to invest in female filmmakers in a different way. Now, it didn't happen sort of explode or anything else like that, but you did have women working and sort of presenting stronger female characters, I think.
That was my next question. Do you think because there were female filmmakers and female directors, did the characters that women were playing, were they different than how they would play in a man's movie?
The characters that were written are more fleshed out, or can be more fleshed out in films by women, written by women as well as directed by women. And I think you have like Catherine Bigelow, who won the Oscar for the Best Director recently, and she, when she made Point Break, she was instrumental in getting Laura Petty cast as the female lead, and they wanted, of course, a sort of traditional blonde bombshell that would have made the character much less interesting and intricate. But I think that you had women bringing different females to the screen.
Right. So do you think that today, and even then, that's when it started for male directors to have to start integrating these ideas that female directors were bringing to film?
Sure, I think we all influence each other artistically, and certainly anyone who's watched, say, even some of Catherine Bigelow's earlier films like Near Dark or Blue Steel, where you sort of see very strong female characters and very intricate female characters and I'm not suggesting that you also, certainly Douglas Sirk and other directors had strong women as well, but it brings a new perspective, and I think that certainly women's stories being told by women allowed for a different dialogue and a different approach.
Can you list for us a few female directors and some films they've made that you think that every young performer should probably see?
Sure. That's a great question, actually, and I think there are a lot of them, actually, even though they aren't huge in percentages or numbers. There's still a ton of great female directed films out there, which I think get ignored. I think Betty Gordon has some really, really great female characters in her films. She did a movie called Variety in the 70s in 1978 with a great female lead, and another movie called Luminous Motion. Courtney Hunt's Frozen River, and she has the greatest quote, which is one of the frustrations she has about female characters is they don't do anything, and she wanted a female character who actually did something, and Frozen River is nothing if not a great example of that, and Melissa Leo does a great job in that. Julie Dash, who was the first African-American woman to get theatrical distribution for a feature film with Daughters of the Dust, and Daughters of the Dust is a beautiful film. And if anything, any obstacles that women have are compounded if you're a part of another marginalized group as well. Jessica Yu, who's directed a lot of Grey's Anatomy, directed a great film called Ping Pong Playa, and it's fantastic. And certainly Catherine Bigelow, Near Dark, Zero Dark 30, Point Break with Laura Petty, as mentioned, and I think that there's a lot of, Sarah Polley who came out with a documentary this year, Stories We Tell, which is lovely, but she has two wonderful feature narratives that, as you know, are really interesting. Take This Waltz and Away From Her. So Deborah Kampmeyer, who did a movie called Virgin with Elizabeth Moss, pre-Mad Men, and Hound Dog with Dakota Fanning. And there was an extreme controversy because Dakota Fanning was only 13 when she was in the film, and there's a rape scene. But for me, it's about so much more than that. And I think because she's a female filmmaker, you sort of get a really in-depth look about young women's sexuality, which you wouldn't necessarily see from a male director. So
it seems like the list goes on and on. Is
It
there
does.
like is there a place where we can go to find a big list of female filmmakers online? Or
obviously there are many places. There's, but I will promote my website a little bit, which also has links to other websites. And my website is www. Not that you need that anymore. The Second Sex and the Seventh Art.com.
Okay, great. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk more about your personal endeavors and how you got to where you are today.
Great.